Hey everyone, it's Angela
Colleen Mitchell.
and we are here with Homes and Loans. This episode is our Halloween episode. So we are talking about real estate and loan horror stories. So this is always this is which honestly they're all horror stories. I'm just kidding. They're not. They're always good. We always find a way. But just our own little personal stories. I mean, one for me recently was my seller had done like all these repairs as requested. For the buyers that were relocating, and then we were set to close. My sellers had already closed, and then the buyer lost their job the day before closing. So we had moved everything out, and it was a nightmare. Honestly, I felt so bad for my sellers. So it's one of those things where they were very amicable, and they were like, okay, well, they'll still move in, and we'll just rent it back to them and give them some time to find another job. Like, they were super sweet sellers.
Yeah.
And then the buyer was like, no, I don't want to agree. And we're like, what? And then they wanted their deposit back. So this is where it becomes a nightmare. So it was no fault of the sellers. And the reason I say this, because this is where real estate becomes a nightmare. When people don't understand their timelines and their obligations regarding the contract.
Yeah.
Right? So the reason I love working with Colleen is because she knows if I have a contract and it has a loan commitment time frame in there, she's going to get me that clear to close, or she's going to tell me why we're not going to meet it so that I can extend it and protect my buyer.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's amazing how many deals fall apart. I mean, obviously with a job loss, that is completely different versus some of the other things that I'm seeing where the loan falls apart with another lender like 2 days before closing. Like, how does that happen?
Which means you're missing your timelines. Okay, another big one that people make this huge mistake, and you will create a nightmare for yourself and everyone else. Do not go buy furniture.
or a car.
Or
co-sign for an apartment.
Do you know how many people go buy a car or furniture the week before closing? You cannot do that. You have debt ratios. They're going to pull your credit. They're going to re-verify your employment. Like, people, you haven't closed on the house yet. Wait. Please wait until you close, because you're going to have all this new furniture and you're not going to be closing on your house. So
the one I heard yesterday was it was a transaction that had 5 behind it.
What do you mean 5 behind it?
He's buying.
Oh, no.
Somebody's buying his house. So that one's buying this one. Well, the one all the way number 5 fell apart. So we had a whole domino.
Oh, no.
I didn't have the buyer for here. They called me panicking. This particular buyer was doing a bank statement program and needed a bridge loan. Well, those are hard to get if you're doing a bank statement program.
They're not hard to get, but if you're doing a bank statement program, they are. So
right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Those two combined make it a little difficult. So I was really trying to help yesterday make that deal work. I could not find a bridge loan company that was willing to do it without tax returns. So
and it's on the wire. You're trying to fix something that should have never come down to the wire, and now it's affecting 5 other transactions. It's just insanity, right?
And I did find out. I know we talked about Knock before.
Yes.
And I did reach out to Knock, and they said bank statement program was not a problem.
Oh.
However,
then when you
they look at when that house was listed, and it was listed too long ago. So they have that
for their other guidelines.
For their
so
guidelines.
It didn't meet the other guideline.
I really thought I had a solution, but it didn't work out in this particular case. But when you've got that domino effect of multiple people buying, because, I mean, with the market the way it is, it's really hard for you to buy without selling.
I just had this scenario on a closing last week. Last week, people. Whenever you cannot be faint of heart when you are doing a double closing. So my seller is selling and then buying on another home the same day. Okay, so you have to be packed, have your house empty, be cleaned, everything in the moving truck, do your final walkthrough, close on your house, and then go to your next closing. Those first funds have to be wired to the next title company, and you're going to go do the walkthrough at the other house and close on the next house same day. Okay, the problem is you can't dictate when the lender is going to be ready to send the closing package, what time your buyers on your property that you're selling are going to sign. And so in my scenario, one, my seller wasn't completely moved out. The buyers wanted to do a walkthrough. The house wasn't empty. My husband and I had to go over
and help them.
And help pack boxes the other day prior to closing because obviously the buyers want to do a walkthrough with an empty house, right? So we're over there packing up boxes, I'm picking up boxes. I mean, it's insanity, the things you have to do sometimes. And then the buyers wanted to do the final walkthrough and didn't want to close until 2 p.m. Now, when they're closing at 2 p.m., it doesn't seem like a big deal, except that a closing can take an hour.
Right.
Then those funds need to be, can't have any delays in funding.
Yeah.
And then those wires need to be sent to the other title company. Now, if that's delayed, now that seller isn't closing on their house and they're stuck for the weekend with their moving truck and all their belongings, and it turns into like literally a nightmare. So luckily it all worked out, but it is always super stressful.
Simultaneous closings
when you're doing simultaneous closings
can be very convoluted at times. So in that case with the domino, it's a similar situation. Like you got to close on one to close on another, and
well, another. I've learned my lesson over the years. So as you know, we've been doing this a long time. I had a friend of the family who wanted to list, and I said, "Great." I went over there, and they were like, "Everything's going to be ready for photos." We had talked about certain things that need to be done, and then I was like, "Okay, this room needs to be painted." It was like an electric blue, and the sun had like a big tarp on the wall, right? And I was like, that's got to come down. This has to be painted like a neutral color, because it was just way too bold for 99% of people, right? So I go over the day of the photographer, and it's not done. And I'm like, I'm already paid for the photographer to be there, so he's going to take the pictures, but there's no way for me to change it.
You can't like virtually.
And then exactly. And then I'm like, okay, let me just at least take this crazy tarp down. It wasn't painted behind the tarp. So it was like just getting worse. So you've got like white wall, bright electric blue on the rest of the wall. So I had to keep the tarp up. And then it was just craziness. And then I was like, never again will I not go the day before photos and make sure people always, it's going to be fine. I'm going to clean everything up. Everything's going to be fine. It'll be ready. No, sorry, people. I no longer trust you. I'm sorry everyone ruined it for you, but I will be there the week before. I will be there the day before, and then I will be the morning of the photos to make sure it's done. Because otherwise, I'm usually like moving things, cleaning, packing, and it's craziness. But long story short, we had to have that room painted, just so you know. So took the photos and had to have it painted and have the photographer come back.
Yeah, I think on the on our side, it's more of people making deposits that they shouldn't. Getting like this morning, they got a $5,000 cash gift, and when you get gift funds, you got to source them. You got to document any type of gift.
I can't just deposit $100,000 and not tell you where it came from.
No, and a bunch of Zelle payments. One of them went to a pawn shop and pawn jewelry. Well, and it was cash.
I can't wait to see that letter of explanation on that. What was the pawn shop Zelle for?
I can give you the pawn shop receipt, is what he said. And we see a lot. I think funds to close is always the mystery with some folks, is that they're moving money around and they don't realize on the lending side,
you want to know where it's coming from.
How much more it creates for them to do a paper trail.
Yeah.
The other one I just had, there was a tarp on the roof, and I said, "You didn't tell me about the roof," and he said, "Well, I already gave my roofer half the deposit."
Yeah.
Well, those types of things you need to let your lender know up front, because when the appraiser went out there, he took a nice picture of that blue tarp on the roof, and so it became a problem. We were able to work it out, but still, it's
too funny. Have you ever seen any really good like letters of explanation? Because I know when we've done loans, you'll say to the client like, "All right, well, I need to know like what this inquiry was, or what this bill was, or why this." Like I've seen these ones where like, "No, I didn't pay it. I disagreed, and I'm never paying it." And it's like, okay, how are we going to get this to closing then? Let's just try and negotiate a payoff if you want to buy the house over $300.
And some people are adamant of certain things on their credit that I'm just not going to pay it off. Well, if you don't pay it off, it becomes an issue with your loan. Yeah. Especially if it's a collection. So collections that are over $2,000, you either have to get on a payment plan, pay it off, or we count 5% of the outstanding balance. Well, 5% sometimes, and maybe if it's a $10,000, it could impact how much you qualify for. And I recently had one of those as well. And he's like, "I'm not paying it. Like, I don't agree with it. I'm not going to pay it." And it becomes an issue. Anything that's on the credit, charge-offs, not a problem, but collections, that's a big problem.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah.
That, and the only other horror stories. So I used to, so Colleen and I met, I think you guys remember if you heard some of our back episodes, from a mutual acquaintance. His name was Dave LaRue. Still love and adore him. Great long-term agent that really was my mentor after I closed my title company. And he introduced me to Colleen. So when I was first working for Dave, he was one of like a top REO agent. So that meant he would get foreclosure listings from the bank. So REO is real estate owned. And I was like his buyer's agent. So he would have the listings, and if anyone called, I would deal with the buyers or do open houses. And there were some houses that we went to.
Scary.
Oh my goodness. Like green pools, like,
ripped out appliances,
gutted,
faucets,
and we
cabinets.
went to this house, like all the windows were covered. They had a truck chained in the backyard, like chained to the ground, because I guess they thought the repo company was coming, so they didn't want them to take it, and like a pit bull at the front door. Like, it was just the most insane things. And so they were finally, like, the sheriff came and got them out and all that good stuff. And we went in the back of the house because, like, that's the only way we could get in. And Dave was behind me, but, like, the door slammed. And I never jumped so high in my life. Because, like, you're waiting for someone to jump out of a closet. Because it's, like, they're living, like, it's disgusting. I don't even think these were the owners. These were, like, just squatters.
Yeah.
We used to deal with, like, crazy squatters back in the day where people would, you know, just...
We'd have to give them cash for keys.
I mean, I was showing a property once, and this wasn't a bank-owned property. It was just, like... it's supposed to be a vacant property, but I opened a bedroom door and someone was lying in there, like sleeping, like just a stranger. It's like the craziest thing. So listen, have some, compassion for us real estate agents. We deal with like crazy situations, or even just like meeting up with strangers. I mean, I remember like people that I used to, when I would meet people for the first time, and I text my husband like, "This is a license plate number if you never see me again." Like, you know, because you don't know who you're meeting up with, and then after that, you would hear all these crazy stories about you know people being attacked, and it's just so it is scary. Yeah. Listen, now I carry a gun, so don't mess with me.
I don't carry a gun.
Anyway, but yeah, real estate is always interesting. I always feel like we should have a like a reality show.
Or a therapy session.
A therapy session.
Yeah.
That is so true when you think about the horror stories, like when I deal with like divorce or probate situations where like the family members hate each other and they're all fighting over like the property the mother left them. And it is just like you're dealing with just craziness. Well, I paid the water bill from 6 years ago. Okay. It says each person gets this much. You know what I mean? So just dealing with personalities.
That just happened on my son. My son just recently bought a house, and it was a divorce situation. They bought this house to fix it up and move in it. They owned it a year and a half, never even made it, and they're saying that the renovations is what caused the divorce.
Oh my goodness.
So, and this is in a different state, and you have two different title companies in that state, so they had to have the wife in one room and the husband in the other, and then it became a shouting match that they didn't want to sign. Yeah, it was not fun.
Craziness.
Not fun. When there's a divorce situation, it does add a little mud in the water. So
yeah. Well, there's just always some kind of ripple effect or something. So every deal has its hurdles, you know.
Yeah. We got a lot of them right now.
Anyway, well, hopefully we didn't scare you too much, but things are pretty quiet now. The biggest horror story right now for most of our clients is that they're scared of the interest rate. So, but you got to tell people like you're dating the rate, you know.
Rates have come down,
and they're not that bad. People are they're still in this mindset of it's going to be 3-4%, and it's just not there, guys. No. You're going to hold off on buying forever because even if rates go down, you're going to be scared when you see how much prices continue to go up. So you're better off to buy now at this interest rate, do a buy down, or just wait and refinance and at least build equity
100%.
and owning something that you own and you're building wealth with. I mean, that's the whole point.
And we talked about that once rates do come down,
the market's
going to start going up, and then it's going to be there's going to be more competition. So definitely now is a good time.
Just in the last couple weeks, because rates have come down, even though it wasn't as much as I was hoping for, I'm already seeing things to start moving more than they have been in the last 6 months.
Agree.
100%. Because I have this one listing, and like all of a sudden 3 went under contract in the building. You know what I mean? And so and then this other listing of mine, all of a sudden yesterday I get 4 more showing requests. Last week it was quiet, and then in one day we're getting 4 more showing requests. So things are definitely starting to turn around, and I think we're going to get through the holiday, first of the year. All of a sudden we're going to see things starting to pick up. So I predict, we'll see if this is the case, but I'm predicting in my magical Halloween ball here that we're going to see the market start to pick back up come summer, like April, May, June.
I think you're right.
I think that's what's going to happen.
I think we're going to continue to see the rates come down, which is going to bring a lot more buyers in the market.
So keep that in mind, because unless we have more sellers come in the market here in Orlando, then you're going to be competing for the same house. So if you're interested, you should probably start looking now.
100%.
And then you can always refinance or recast, whichever you decide to do later. So hopefully we didn't scare you too much, like I said.
Boo.
Boo. So we're here for you guys. And let us know your questions. If you have a closing horror story, we would love to hear about it.
Absolutely.
For sure, share with us. I'm sure we can relate.
Yes.
And we'll have to revisit this and see if I was right next year with my crystal ball. So we'll see where we are in June, April, and see how it goes. So we'll talk to you guys next time.
Have a great day.
Love it.
Yeah?
Perfect, too.
Good.
I like these 20-minute ones. Mm-hmm. It's I think
not too long.
Yeah. Gives you also a good